This day in sports history. This episode is brought to you by Sterling Soap. Go to STIRLING soap.com and check out their full line of bath soaps, shave soaps, beard balm, lotions, and cologne. It's April 22nd, and on this day in 1876, the first Major League Baseball game was played. This was the Boston Red Caps in Philadelphia taking on the Athletics. Major League Baseball had one league at this point, the National League, made up of 8 teams. In fact, if you have ever heard the National League referred to as the senior circuit, this is why. It started 25 years before the American League was formed. Alonzo Knight threw the first pitch in Major League history. Jim O'Rourke had the first official hit. There were an estimated 3,000 fans at Athletic Park to watch it, and the game looked a bit different than it does today. There were an estimated 3,000 fans at Athletic Park to watch it, and the game looked a good bit different than it does today. The pitches were delivered underhand from 45 feet instead of the now overhand from 60 feet 6 inches. Instead of 4 balls to draw a walk, it took 9 pitches out of the strike zone, and that strike zone was actually dictated by the batter. Prior to the pitcher delivering his pitch, the batter would specify either a high strike zone, which was waist to shoulders, or low strike zone, waist to shins, and the pitcher had to deliver the ball in that zone. This game lasted about 2 hours, and it had an exciting finish. The Red Caps, who would later become the Braves, trailed by a run entering the 9th, but they plated 2 to win 6-5. There are some qualifiers as well here. We've mentioned before the first professional baseball team were the Cincinnati Red Stockings, and there was a professional league that predated the National League. But it was a fairly loose association, and it lacked central governance. The teams in that earlier association were subject to gambling, players showing up drunk, playing drunk, corruption within the team and ownership, and that league folded in 1875. So, from those ashes, William Holbert emerged as the founder of the National League, and he brought the strongest clubs from that old association into the National League. So, what happened on this day was the start of what we now know as Major League Baseball. Also on this day in sports history, in 1947, the first championship series of the new Basketball Association of America wrapped up. In that one, it was the Philadelphia Warriors against the Chicago Stags. Joe Fulks led the way for the Warriors with 34 points in an 83-80 Game 5 win, witnessed by more than 8,200 at the generically named Philadelphia Arena. The BAA would later merge with the National Basketball League to form the NBA. In 1982, the Atlanta Braves lost for the first time after starting the season with 13 straight wins. The Cincinnati Reds beat Atlanta 2-1 to put an end to the streak. The 13 straight wins to start the season bested the previous mark of 11 set by the 81 Oakland A's. The streak has been equaled by the 87 Milwaukee Brewers and the 2023 Tampa Bay Rays, but it has not been bested. And in 1969, Robin Knox-Johnston sailed into the port of Falmouth, winning the first Golden Globe Yacht race. The Golden Globe was a solo, non-stop circumnavigation of the globe. 9 sailors started the race, and Knox-Johnston was the only one to finish it, traveling 30,000 miles in 312 days, enduring many challenges along the way. One sailor, Donald Crowhurst, faked his progress, leading his wife and journalists to believe he was far ahead of everybody else. Instead, he was an unskilled sailor, badly provisioned, and he was lost. Sadly, he is believed to have committed suicide somewhere in the Atlantic. Crowhurst's story is fascinating, and if you wanted to learn more about it, I suggest Wondery's British Scandal podcast. It was detailed in Season 38. Now, the race is actually being resurrected. The second edition of the Golden Globe Yacht Race will set sail this September. And time now for today's That's Got Nothing to Do with Sports fun fact. President Andrew Jackson was a bit baffled about what to do with a 1,400-pound hoop of cheese that he'd received as a present from the state of New York upon his inauguration. It measured 4 feet in diameter and it was 2 feet thick, and it took up a good amount of space in the White House. Jackson kept it around in the White House for 2 years until 1835, when he had the bright idea to have a party and serve some cheese. On the day of the big cheese party, Washington was shut down and people flocked to the White House. The reviews were mixed. One said the carpet was slippery with cheese, while another said it was an evil-smelling horror. This has been an original Thrive Suite production.